Morning everybody. Working on my favourite boat this morning because quite honestly I don't have nothing else to do. So Michael and them are working on installs and delivering some boats today. So still haven't found my new project boat. So if anybody knows of a good project boat out there, please keep me in mind. But whilst I haven't found one, I'm going to work on this a little bit, and most of the stuff I'm going to do on this is just, you know, preventive stuff. You know, whilst we go to the part, I've checked out the carburetors. The carburetors look good. We're going to clean up the seal and we're going to reverse it. This here is like from the gas and stuff. You know, when you're idling or what have you, it sits down here at the bottom. So we're going to clean this gasket up real good, and we're going to rotate it around. So this is at the top. And we got fresh meat down at the bottom, and if we have to, we can make a little cut in here and rejoin it. May not after we get it cleaned up, etc. So that's one of these things on these motors that you need to keep an eye on, is take your cover off every now and again and clean this gasket up. See how, now that I've turned it around, should have probably shown you before how much better it is. Probably put a little silicone down here to help hold this in place so we get a good tight seal against our cover. So those are little things. Good cleanup, it'll be fine. Obviously if you've got gas and oil and stuff sitting on rubber, it's not a good situation. But what I've seen from these motors, and just I'm not an expert on outboard motors. I'm used to race car motors, but what I've seen on all the ones I've worked on, especially when we have it tilted up and we're, you know, adjusting stuff or warming it up or whatever, the fuel tends to cut down and end up down here. You can almost see them. I'll make a video of that so you can kind of see what's going on. And usually it's when the butterflies are not all the way open. So whilst it's warming up, it's getting a lot more fuel than it needs, and sometimes it'll come out down here. Nothing to worry about, that's just part of it. It's got a lot better as time has gone on. I don't know what age this motor is. Michael will have to fill me in. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace, you know, go through, do the rubber hoses thing again, just because we're going to be in here. I want to pull this tank off here and clean behind it. We did some cleanup in the motor, but the motor wasn't too bad, but it's a good way to check for leaks. But I'm not really too much worried about it because I'm going to go ahead and replace all the hoses like we have in the past. It's something that I believe you guys should do. It's not, the hoses aren't that expensive. Just make sure you get the right quality hose and go through and do it, and redo your tie wraps. You know, when you're no longer fishing or out there for the season, this is a little thing that you can do yourself. Pre-measure everything up, take yourself some digital photographs. That way you make sure you get it back right, and just take your time and be patient about it. And you'll find, I mean, you don't have to need to do it every year. But what year motor is this, do you know?
94.
So this is a 94 motor. You can tell this motor, I can tell this motor has been worked on just by what I see here. So somebody's worked on this motor. You can tell it's not exactly how it came from the factory, because when we look at those, they have a certain way of doing things. And the work that's been done here is just fine, not knocking it. You can tell this hose has been replaced. This hose is in pretty good shape. This hose up here, I believe, needs to be replaced. It seems a little hard to me, but I don't like to get carried away on that, because when we get the new stuff out, sometimes it just feels, you know, but like I said, for the cost and what have you, we're already in here, we're going to do it. Okay, so we'll probably replace this just because we're here. And, you know, we're going to go through, do our usual cleanup. I like to get everything out. That way you can see if you do have any leaks or anything. So the belt looks in pretty good shape, but we're going to replace the belt. The other thing that I like to do, which I think is a good thing to do, is put dates on everything. So get yourself one of those little silver marker things, you know, a fine one, and put a date on it. Like here, here, and here. And that way you know that when they were replaced. So, you know, the thing that I think you need to just do is double check to make sure your hoses aren't hard. And, you know, stuff like this stuff here doesn't take 5 minutes to pull that off, clean this up. You know, Clyde's one of the best guys I've known as far as taking care of the boat. When he gets home, he goes through his boat, he cleans out his boat, he opens up all the hatches, he takes the motor cover off. I mean, he told me what he does with that boat. And I was really impressed with it, because that's a guy that wants his boat to be, as he put it to me, when he's ready to go the next time, his boat's ready. So he'll go out there, fish all day long, but when he comes home, he takes that extra time to get his boat ready. And I was very impressed. In fact, it gave me a lot of great ideas. So he just doesn't back it in the garage and forget about it. You know, he backs it in and goes through and does all his double checks and stuff. So the next time he gets ready to go on the water, all he's got to do is hitch up and leave. So I think that's some good advice from oh my God, my brain ain't working. From Clyde. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. Nothing we haven't done before, and quite honestly, does this really need to be done? Probably not. But we're going to get it done. We do need to. There are some things we do need to do. We do need to fix this. That needs to be fixed. But a lot of the stuff we're going to be doing, it's just preventive maintenance. I don't think it really needs to be done. I won't have a problem. Well, I would take this out until I got the steering fixed. Okay, that's just a pet peeve of mine now. So I would make sure my steering is 100% before I went out. But as far as everything else goes, we're just doing preventive kind of maintenance and me just piddling around a little bit. So the other thing that I feel on this particular boat does need to be done is replacing those fuel hoses that they cut short. So that's what we're going to kind of be working on. Just kind of keep in mind this is more just, you know, preventive stuff, and we'll kind of keep you updated as I go through. But something simple like this can save you on this gasket here, okay? Because if that keeps up, this thing will start to disintegrate. You're going to be buying one from Mr.
Mercury,
or Mr. Yamaha, depending on your motor, or Mr. Johnson. And those guys seem to like their stuff. Let me tell you. I don't know how many kids they're trying to put through college, but let me tell you, they must have a bunch of them, because they are very proud of their stuff. Try to stick with OEM if you can. Not everything you can anymore. It's just parts of availability, okay? But try to stick OEM if you can, and I think it's better served for you. That way, if you have a problem that's not fitting correctly, you know that you've got what you're supposed to have had. But that doesn't always work out. I think every now and again we have to go aftermarket because it's just no longer available, or the delivery date from the engine supplier is way out there. We're very fortunate that we're friends with a couple of local big dealers, so we rely on them. Sometimes we'll call them up and they say, oh, we use these all the time, we don't have no problem with them. Or they'll sometimes say, stay away from this, you need to try to go with this one. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions, reach out to Michael, and have a great day. We'll keep you updated.
we're just gonna get the motor started here. I have to hold the key because it's loose, but
take a second to talk to you a little bit about, your spark plugs and spark plug tools. And don't just put a socket on these things, okay? Get the one with a little rubber thing that kind of protects your porcelain here. We had a couple of these cracked, and the reason why they're cracked is because, in my opinion, somebody used a standard socket on it and not a very good fitting socket. So when you're putting it in, you're torquing it up, you can chip and break your porcelain in here. So several people, you can probably get them on Amazon, but make sure you get the one with the rubber in the inside that protects this whilst you're torquing it down, okay? You're going to save yourself some money. I was amazed. Michael told me what we spent for spark plugs on one of the builds, and I was like, wow. So you can imagine whatever that socket cost you, it's well worth it. That probably for us would be one of those tools that I would go ahead and spend extra money and get a Snap-on one or a high quality one. okay? It does no good if you put it on there and it's wiggling around, because when you go to top, all you got to do is hit that porcelain a little bit and you're going to be in trouble. So we had a couple that were cracked, and quite honestly, that's the reason why this thing wasn't running the way we'd like it to run. So we're going to go ahead and replace all of them, because all of them kind of showed as if somebody had not put them in right. And I don't want to talk bad about people, but I've seen it happen on a lot of cars over the years, and people put a socket on there and they hit the end, and this is porcelain. It's going to break, just like your mum's china, okay? So keep that in mind. Michael, you got to remember, I'm 66 years old, something like that. Can't remember from day to day. So I've been doing this for quite a while, and Michael gets himself all worked up sometimes over things he doesn't need to get himself worked up about. So we went back and double checked the compression on the cylinders. Every one of these cylinders were in the 110 range, give or take a little bit. If this happens to be a Harbor Freight one, I've suggested to Michael that he needs to get a better quality one, because we do compression checks on a regular basis. He said he had a cylinder down here that was 90, the rest of them were 100 and some. And we double checked it, and it was within a couple of points of every other one. Now, this is my theory on these things, especially on a tool of this quality, okay? I'm not knocking Harbor Freight. They've got some great stuff out there, but take things for what they're worth, okay? So my rule has always been over the years, first of all, if all your cylinders are checking the same, and let's say, for argument's sake, every single cylinder is checking 80, to me that's a good sign. And oh, it's supposed to be over 100. Well, are you sure about your gauge? Has your gauge been certified and calibrated back to the National Bureau of Standards? Coming from Harbor Freight, I doubt it very seriously. So, secondly, if you have 80, 50, 80, 80, 80, you want to look at that cylinder, okay? That's my opinion. So I kind of take into consideration the tool. There is nothing wrong with this tool, but I question the repeatability of the gauge. So when the snap-on guy comes by, we gave him a call. Unfortunately, somebody tried to break into his truck last night, so somebody tried to break into his snap-on truck last night, had to get people arrested, all kinds of good stuff. So, anyway, feel sorry, that's not good business. But so he's going to come by next week, and we'll do a comparison between the two. The difference is his gauge is going to be certified, okay? That if it says 100 psi, it's 100 psi. The other thing you've got to keep in mind is these O-rings here and your surface here. So if you're doing a compression test, don't get yourself all wound up. If you get 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, I'd say you were golden. Especially if you got this from a local place for 25 bucks. All right? So if you get a low one, then you need to do further work. Okay? The other thing that I would do before I check the compression, and what we did was we ran the motor for a while. The reason why we did that, this motor's not been ran for a while. That way your rings are all seated, that kind of stuff. So, like on a race car, the way that we would do it is we would go through our warm-up procedures, get the car up to temperature, and we'd let it cool down enough to where we could work on it, and then we would double check the compressions on it. So anyway, that's just my 10 cents worth on this. Take it for what it's worth. I am not an expert on motors, but I got to tell you, if I had a race car motor and I was using this and it said 90, 90, 90 all the way around, I'd throw the plugs back in that thing and let it go. So, and a lot of times, we have electronics on the race car, so we're able to double check some things. So, but take your tool into consideration. Make sure you get a good spark plug tool. And I mean that. They make special spark plug tools, and it's worth your money, because I guarantee you, some of those plugs that he was buying were $20 a piece, weren't they?
These ones are like $18, $19 a
Yeah, so
piece.
the plugs for this are $18, $19. So, you know, you screw up a couple of those, that socket is worth its money. And it'll last you forever, okay? It'll last you forever. So, the other thing, I wanted to say something about this. I really like it. You know, we work on so many boats, but look at this little deal here. See these two little things? This is great. You flip those things up and this sucker comes right off, okay? Of course, you got to make sure you put them back down when you put them back on. But man, the ones we've had with half a dozen bolts in drive me crazy. So I like this. This has made Grumpy happy today. Oh my God, two little things and off it came. So that's just another little deal. But we're going through, cleaning up, clean the carburetors up. We're checking for leaks. I'm not going to mess with the carburetors. Well, I shouldn't say that. I may mess with the carburetors after I put the plugs and everything in, and we'll go out and run it and see if we have a problem. We are going to rebuild the pump like we always have, and we'll make another video of me doing that. And every now I got to remember, because the last time I put it back together the wrong way. So anyway, I'm getting old. So but you get what you pay for. So anyway, that's the update, and we'll keep you updated as we kind of I'm just messing around with this today. Michael's getting frustrated with me. I'm going to get there every 5 minutes, say let's make a video. So that's where we're at, and we'll have more videos.